All hell is breaking loose as Donald Trump just ordered a massive bomb raid against Iran, and Donald Trump posted that he intends to destroy the entire Iranian civilization. Again, Donald Trump is accusing Iran of violating the ceasefire and the memorandum of understanding, despite multiple violations seemingly every single hour by the United States. Iran has just responded as well, targeting Bahrain and Kuwait. All hell is breaking loose in the region, folks. Let's talk about what we learned just went down as things are escalating and escalating fast, and I would not be surprised if the Strait of Hormuz is shut down very soon. Iranian top officials, by the way, are saying that they will be responding with vengeance right now. You have the IRGC spokesperson saying the following: "You targeted our sovereignty, so expect a practical response that will change the equation." Sirens right now over Kuwait, sirens right now over Bahrain as Iran is striking back. Also, the IRGC spokesperson said, "You miscalculated and our patience has run out. So prepare for a long, endless night. You have crossed the lines and our decision is not just talk. The coming hours will speak for our strength." And indeed, folks, Iran is striking back hard. The IRGC has said that 8 U.S. military infrastructure sites were targeted in a combined drone and missile strike by the IRGC Navy and Aerospace Forces in response to the United States strikes on Sirak and Keshem. Per the release from the IRGC, they targeted the Ali Salem Air Base in Kuwait, as well as the U.S. 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. And we do believe, folks, that there has been damage done on those U.S. air bases. Folks, things are escalating very, very quickly. So here's what went down. The U.S. launched this massive attack targeting Iranian military surveillance infrastructures in Sirak and Keshem, communication systems, air defense sites, drone storage facilities, mine layer capabilities, and other infrastructure in response to Iran striking a Panama flag tanker that tried to traverse through the Strait of Hormuz using a United States route that was not authorized by the IRGC. Remember, Article 5 of the Memorandum of Understanding says that Iran is to administer the Strait of Hormuz, regardless of what you think about that one way or another, or what you feel about it. That's what paragraph 5 of the MOU says. So Iran warned ships before, if you don't go through the IRGC administered lanes in the Strait of Hormuz, and if you work with the United States to breach the MOU, we will target your ship. So you'll recall 2 days ago, Iran struck a Singaporean flagged vessel, disabled that. The United States targeted Keshem and Sirak. And then you had Iran targeting earlier this Panama flagged vessel, again for violating what the MOU says in the IRGC's control of the Strait of Hormuz. And then in response to that, Trump ordered this massive bombing campaign. And Donald Trump says, "We will wipe out the Islamic Republic of Iran." The exact quote Trump just writes, "The Islamic Republic of Iran will no longer exist," he says. He says, "We will finish what we started." Donald Trump threatening massive war, massive raising of stakes. We all know also how weak and pathetic Donald Trump ultimately is. He's got us involved in this catastrophic war, putting us on the brink of economic global depression, which most Americans feel, by the way, already. But here's what Donald Trump, what a sicko. Here's what he posted moments ago. United States aircraft just struck Iranian missile and drone storage locations and coastal radar sites for violating the ceasefire agreement. Again, it is very possible that they will never learn. There may come a point when we will no longer be able to be reasonable and will be forced to militarily complete the job that we very successfully started. If that happens, the Islamic Republic of Iran will no longer exist. DJT, more Donald Trump bravado and bluster after he and Netanyahu lost the war. Now, obviously, again, trying to achieve that which they could not in the actual war through a memorandum of understanding that the Trump regime seeks to violate every single day, each and every provision, whether it's provision 1, providing for a sustainable ceasefire in Lebanon with Israel leaving. They undermine that by entering into a deal with Lebanon and Israel, which basically puts Israel and southern Lebanon indefinitely under a so-called security zone and pilot zone framework, or whether it's violating Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, Article 5, by saying to cargo ships and tankers and these VLCCs, don't go through the Iranian lane. We'll get you through our lane. And Iran saying, if you do that, we're going to target target your ships, and that's precisely what we are seeing. CENTCOM has confirmed that these strikes have taken place. They're telling state regime media Fox that we are hitting them much harder. This is what CENTCOM is saying. We're hitting Iran much harder than we did the day before. Also, Jennifer Griffin of Fox asked, how come you keep on hitting seemingly the same areas? This is what Jennifer Griffin asked CENTCOM. I asked a senior defense official why the U.S. had to go back and restrike these sites that have been hit multiple times since February 28th when the war began. I was told Iran has reconstituted its air defense and missile system along the Strait of Hormuz since U.S. bombing campaigns ended on April 7th. Remember, that's when Donald Trump said, we will obliterate your entire civilization. We will bomb you to the Stone Age. Then Donald Trump on his own declared a unilateral ceasefire, which he then imposed his own terms that Iran was like, yeah, you're just doing this on your own. And then Donald Trump dragged this all out until we had the memorandum of understanding that Donald Trump signed in Versailles, the technical talks which took place with J.D. Vance, and Marco Rubio was too ashamed or didn't want to be affiliated with this MOU. Instead, Marco Rubio this past week went to the Middle East, met with Gulf Cooperation Council countries in order to undermine the MOU and to basically put poison pills throughout it. And yes, CENTCOM is confirming that Iran has been able to reconstitute their weapons and move things around as well. As I noted, Iran is striking back following the U.S. strikes against Iran. Bahrain and Kuwait are now under fire. Sirens are going off there. The Ministry of Interior in Bahrain, sirens are sounding. Citizens are urged, remain calm, but head to the nearest safe place. Head to the nearest safe place immediately. Rory Johnston puts the following timeline. Thursday, Iran hits a ship that was violating the MOU using a U.S.-backed lane and not the IRGC lane. Friday, U.S. retaliates against drone, missile, and radar sites. Saturday morning, Iran hits another ship. Saturday evening, U.S. hits more Iranian sites. Let's just face it, folks, this MOU was yet another Trump farce and fraud. Just like he's defrauded people his whole life, he can never actually keep to any agreements. And folks, we know that Donald Trump launched those first wave of strikes against Iran after the markets closed. They did it intentionally to continue to manipulate the markets. The oil market right now being utterly manipulated. We'll see what it opens up at tomorrow when we see the futures open up, but it was recently trading Brent crude at $72. That's less than it was under Biden in 2023. And as I've said before, in my view, it's fairly out. By the way, I did collusion lawsuits when I was a litigator. It seems fairly obvious to me that you have the oil industry colluding together, in my view, to raise prices when they don't like the administration, which taxes them more fairly and has more pro-worker policies. And they seem to be manipulating the market now to try to bring these prices down to support their kind of oligarchical reign over here with Donald Trump. But as I said, the issues are the Strait of Hormuz is as volatile as can be. I don't see what justifies dropping. I'm happy for the prices to drop. I just think it's not recognizing the fact that on a global international scope, we basically hit tank bottom. Go look at Cushing in Oklahoma. The U.S. strategic petroleum reserves are at functional tank bottom. And if we take a look at what's happening today, despite Trump halting, whatever, you have global inventories running down. Look right at the ships transiting right now, the Strait of Hormuz in like the past 24 hours, like 5. Like there's not a lot of ships getting out through the Strait of Hormuz, as my friend Brett Erickson writes. As it currently stands, here is the effect of the past 10 days since the U.S. signed the MOU. Iran has been able to export 45 million barrels of Iranian oil, previously trapped inside the blockade line. Iran had sanctions lifted on their oil sales, and now we're right back to essentially the pre-MOU status of tit-for-tat strikes and likely a shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, as these strikes were taking place, MAGA Republican sycophant Anna Paulina Luna was on state regime media, which calls itself Fox, and this is when the strikes took place. They asked her, what do you think about what happened? Here's what she has to say.
The Strait of Hormuz, more strikes today right there. The ceasefire holding on by a thread, Congresswoman.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, there's always going to be these factions that are trying to stir things up, but I have faith in the president, I have faith in Secretary Rubio, and as you know, J.D. Vance has been so incredibly important in these negotiations. So, look, I think that there's a lot of people that are hoping that this won't hold up, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I love that.
Cautiously optimistic, Tom.
Getting some satellite footage of where it looks like the United States hit in Sirik in southern Iran right here. That looks to be one of the telecommunications towers that the United States just knocked out. Also, reports surfacing and visually identified that Israel is continuing to strike in southern Lebanon right now. Israel claims it is targeting Hezbollah. As you can see, it looks to be kind of right there in the middle, though, of Nabadeh al-Faqqa in that area moments ago. And while all of this is taking place, Donald Trump just got back from his golf match. You can see right over here. It appears to be his human printer over there in the skirt. Natalie Harp walking in. Lots of question marks there about her role in the White House, what she's doing with Donald, but you saw her walk there, it seemed. First, Donald Trump posting a photo of him when he was sent to a military boarding school for behavioral issues. That's what the parents called it, behavioral issues and bullying. Although, from what I've heard, there are some other issues too of why Fred put Donald Trump in that military academy. We'll just leave it at that. But it's a military boarding school. But Donald Trump posted this photo of himself and Obama. And the guy's obsessed with Obama. And I guess Trump, he has to lie about everything. Trump claims he's 20 years old in this photo. No, you're wearing this military boarding school outfit. You never served. You claimed you had bone spurs. You were not 20 in that photo. You were probably at most 17 years old. Dude lies about every damn... Like, who would lie about that? He lies about his age, wearing a military outfit, stolen valor. Real sicko, real disgusting human. And then we're also seeing this happen in Iraq right now. Heavy armor and security forces are on the move inside the green zone in Baghdad, Iraq, amid unconfirmed reports of arrests of Iraqi politicians. Here's what we're learning, folks. Following reports of Iraqi armor activity in the green zone in Baghdad, reports are indicating a number of politicians, including Sunni politician Muthana al-Samari, have been arrested. Iraq's new Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi seems to have close ties as well with Iran, and perhaps believing that some of these Sunni politicians in the government may be conspiring with the United States to overthrow already this burgeoning Iraqi government right there. That's what we've got for you right now. We'll keep you posted every step of the way, of course. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers, folks. Let's try to get to 7 million. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.